Things are going to start happening to me now.
You've done all the reading. You're a scholar. You're a professor. You've done all the reading. You've done the intellectual heavy lifting.
More or less, eat shit and die.
You wouldn't know a fact if it begged you all night long.
Want to give the wrong impression, because I am very high.
Ran up behind him with a hatchet. Smash, smash, smash. Yeah.
Care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you. I
think I'm going to call this Failed Friday. Welcome, everybody. It is Tyler Yawkey, Libertarian Podcast Review. Just got out of court. Did it online. I didn't even change my clothes. Still in a tie. Took my suit jacket off, though. Came home. It's Friday. Welcome, everybody. Tyler Yawkey, episode 95, Libertarian Podcast Review. If you caught the last one, it was episode 94. That's how we work it. And it was the one and only John Ziegler. And I think it was great. He talks. I was like, hey, come on, we'll do a quick thing, maybe 30 minutes. And each answer was like 30 minutes. So it was a little bit different to that. Shannon, she says, I'm great. I'm great at failing. Damn you, fancy. Thank you. I have jeans on. So this is just the way I just had to do a quick appearance online in court, and I did it. And I'm like, I tried to get Andy in here with us, and he said, no, I'm going to be a father. I'm going to do a short one. I've got things to do. Patio furniture to install and to get it. It's starting to be almost spring here in California. Hope everyone's doing good. I'm just glad you have pants on. Well, maybe I don't. Maybe I don't. I do. I do have pants on. Not going to get caught at the computer with pants off again. That was not a good. Maybe that's a different story. We'll go into at some other point. So I'm just going to talk about a few things here. Some things that have come up. Quick things. And Andy wouldn't be so fancy. No, he would not. But we'd look for him anyways, and I'd make the applause sign go for him. I'm going to be on Libertarian with Shane tonight. I don't think it's a live show, so that'll come out to you guys a little bit later. I've decided with Andy, I'm like, look, we're just going to have to set a schedule, and we're going to have to just stick to it. And Friday afternoons are always good for me, but then they're not for him because he's got a young kid. So maybe I'll try to set a schedule. Just figure it out when the best time to do it is. To me, once again, Friday afternoons are usually the best. But then, I do have problems I have court and I have job and these other things. So maybe it doesn't always work out. Okay. So I was just on year 0 with Tommy Salmons and Patrick McFarlane. And I do encourage you guys to go check that out. There is some, I don't know about Mecock bashing. I'm a proud member of the Mises Caucus. I helped in California. I liked them a lot. I only had an issue with a tweet that they had put out, actually 2 tweets, and we talk about those. And as an attorney, and it's kind of my worldview, my whole thing, Andy and I talked about it a little bit last week. Go check that out. There's no ill will towards the Mises Caucus, just throwing that out there. Not that it really matters, but if you're involved in family law and stuff like that, maybe you just get a little bit of input. They're doing a little clickbaity things, and I think it's very Steven Crowder. Like the right does it, the left does it, and it just seems trivial that I don't really have much to get along with that. What's some other things here? This is going to be very, like I said, kind of a quick thing. We're also doing member only thing. I'm Tom Woods. I'm doing the Tom Woods show extravaganza. I'm going to do a Tom Woods week. I've recorded 4 episodes actually, but it's 2 days. They were both 2 hours each, and then I cut them up, and I'm actually releasing them on the members only already. So they're getting a little taste of that. You go to our Odyssey page if you want to go check that out, and you pay a little bit, but you get some. We're trying to give some cool stuff to the members people, and mostly because I don't know. Maybe I'm going to have to go. Isabella Riley just had Top Lobster on, and I thought it might be a good hate watch. Also, the classical liberal people, those would be a good hate watch. And those are the ones that kind of keep under the wraps and do those specifically over there on the member stuff. Tom Woods thing. So 23 plus 100 episodes. I've gone through episode 1 through I did a breakdown, first of all, of kind of like what you expect from Tom, some of the controversies, introducing who Tom is. Then I'm playing clips. And at the end, I'm going to do this grading system that we have. I'm going to talk about his intros and outros and how they've changed over the time, play some of those clips. It is daunting, but it's also been fun. But the 3x5 card of allowable opinion is just blowing my head. It's a bit much to be. So every weekend, this is the process. You want to know how the meat is made? The meat is already made. Now how the burgers or whatever is processed there, someone let me know how that phrase actually goes. So I listed all his podcasts, and I've gone through a bunch. Then I decide which ones of those I want to actually have. Then from those, since there's 2,300 and I'm like, I'm going to do a Tom Woods week, I then split them up into, evenly. It's like 300-400 or whatever per episode of mine that I would have featured in each one of those 5 days. Now it's turned out it's going to be more like 7 because there's just too much involved there. So then I listen to the podcast and then I go back through it and I kind of listen and try to remember where those spots were that I wanted to highlight. So it's a bit much, and but it's coming along just fine, and it's a labor of love. Am I going to get anything out of this? I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll end up. Maybe Tom Woods will like a tweet because of that. I will say there's some people I'm featuring on there that I have issues with. Safadine Amus. He's the Bitcoin standard guy. He's also wrote the book Fiat Standard, because everything now has to be standard in this thing. So I had problems with him. I wrote a Substack about it because then he came into, I called him a liar. Maybe I shouldn't have called him a liar. Then I rephrased it and basically said, okay, he's just really lazy, because he's like, when he came into my DMs and he's telling me to fuck myself and whatnot. And I said, hey, come on the podcast and talk about it. And he's like, nah, you piece of shit. And he's going off. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not going to work. And he's like, why don't you read my book? So I did. And then I found out it was even worse than before. So he was just really bad in that one segment. Anyway, I'm featuring some of the his clips with Tom Woods. Phil Magnus, he's another one that's blocked me online. No, Safadi didn't even block me. That's how much. And I kind of give him some respect. It's like, some people will block you when you had interactions like that, and he obviously doesn't like me. But he thinks of me so little that he's not even going to block me. And to some respect, I'm like, that's some ballsy work right there. Phil Magnus, on the other hand, I did a show with Stefan Consola and Andy, and we talked about Phil on the Reason magazine podcast with an interview with Nick Gillespie, and we went over his things, and he had some problems with Hoppe, but it was very disingenuous, and so we broke those down. He just blocked me. It was perfectly fine. He has a lot of good stuff. What I do mention, and I kind of talk about it on the what's the show, the Year Zero with Tommy Simmons. I did mention, I'm like, it's hard when you come up against someone that is an expert, and in that expertise, they are so wrong about something that it makes you wonder about all those other things you've just taken for granted. You just buy hook, line, and sinker. That's also why I had an issue with the Mises Caucus and their posting of this child that was getting stripped away in California. I'm not going to rehash it here. Go listen to last week. Also, maybe check out the episode with Tommy on Year Zero, because Patrick and I break that down. And things are not always what they seem. And you do have different consequences and family laws. It's easy to get emotional about a lot of these things, and they're up and down. One of the other things, though, was the landlord tenant, and I did talk about that a little bit. Maybe I'll share this real quick here. They had also tweeted out. Let me see where. Let's do this. They had also tweeted out the Mises Caucus. There was this Airbnb owner. This lady's going crazy, and they talked about squatters' rights. So I'd come back and done a breakdown of this, which is kind of to let you know. Let's sure you even go here. It's not going to work with this one. Basically, there's notice requirements when you start to rent something out to someone. That this turns into a 30-day lease, which means you have to give them specific notice to kick them out of your apartment or your building, and that was the problem here. I think maybe I'm a little too sensitive. I get that because it's California and I live there, but it's not really sensitive. It's just like, well, here's the facts of the matter. So I did a breakdown. I literally looked up every single state's notice requirements if you're a landlord, if you're a tenant, and what is required for you to do for depending on how long a stay that you're there. What happens is you have a lease perhaps for a certain amount of time. Once that lease is up, if it's fixed term, some states say We don't even need to give you notice. Fixed term, you're done and out. You don't. You have to be exiting. Other ones, it just rolls over into a month-to-month lease. So if you have an apartment right now and you're on a year-to-year lease, we did this before we bought this house, and then the year was over and you don't sign a new one. Then it just rolls over into a month-to-month, and all they have to do is give you 30 days to kick you out. That's exactly what happens with these Airbnb. So if you're going to rent your place out with an Airbnb, you might want to take that into account. So anyway, that was one of the issues. And these are just things of like, hey, let's maybe not rile people up and get them all, their panties in a bunch. Here's another issue that I'm working on, which is we had the SVB Bank, okay? And they have requirements for, everyone's heard about this. So the Federal Reserve, don't I want to get about this? Maybe I'm not going to go into this one. Let's just play some clips here, and then we'll talk about some of this other stuff. Let's go to Brave tab. Okay. Dylan Mulvaney gets a good thing with Budweiser. Let's play it.
What does it matter? I don't really get it.
Yeah, listen, I think people are upset because Bud Light has been around since the 1980s. This is a very all-American brand. Some people see it as something that just...
Mulvaney's not an American? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely all-American in the sense...
What is Mulvaney saying on this?
She has not addressed it specifically, but on the Rosie O'Donnell podcast, she says that she thinks the controversy is because people misunderstand her. She's also newly transitioned, just about a year, and she feels like people aren't really understanding who she is, what she stands for. The video, as you showed, was just a fun time with Bud Light, but some people taking it a little hard.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Tom Lemon dismisses the brewing controversy around Bud Light using transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney, calling the backlash crazy and ridiculous, but some boycotters online saw Lemon's comments as proof they were right. When a crazy and ridiculous person calls something crazy and ridiculous, Drake's Legacy says, he's past his prime. If as we needed more confirmation, the boycott is real. Okay, so there you go. I don't know. Rosie has a podcast, dear God. Evidently, that was news to me too. Now, there's a few things there. It's always great to see the news coming in. We're going to kind of dovetail this into the document leaking stuff too. The news media will do whatever they can. So to perpetuate the myth or the lie or whatever you have here. You had here Dylan Mulvaney is, all American, insists on calling him she. Okay, whatever. That's obviously a dude. But this whole ESG type of thing where you're having companies trying to be the social justice warrior type of stuff. So you have that here with the news media, the Bud Light doing this, and then you have the news media trying to perpetuate because they don't want to be hit against this. And even if they're losing billions of dollars, Bud Light that is, and over all these things, you still have the the interesting part that the backlash against this might be a bigger deal, but the news media isn't going to step out of line. Okay, now we have the Twitter files, and then we've had this leaked documents. Okay, what's been interesting is the the outcry to some of this stuff. Let's see if I could find. Let's go right here. I'm going to share my screen. What if we do, just do the window. Oh, that's not going to work. Okay, we'll do this. We'll just share this tab here. This was my post here, but maybe we'll start off with Glenn Beck's. He says the leaked Pentagon documents revealed that the government was doing in your name without your knowledge. We should all be asking, why were we never told? That's the leaked documents of this Teixeira guy. And then let's see if we could find Brad Palumbo's tweet. He tweets a lot, so it's not necessarily the most frequent one. We have to go way back in. Jesus. Oh God, she's horrible. Man, he tweets a lot, so it's hard to find the exact tweet. Should probably find a better way to do this. Oh, his eyebrows. I don't know when he did it, but basically he's saying, look, this person that's the what you call him, the leaker. He didn't do it for any good reasons. Okay, he's not like Snowden. He didn't leak it for good reasons. Therefore, we should be able to just dismiss all this. So as I said, how does Glenn Beck get this right? And Brad Brad Palumbo doesn't. And it reminds me of the Twitter files. Those wanting to keep control in place go after the whistleblower, or those talking about what's being revealed, like Matt Taibbi, Schellenberg, and Greenwald, instead of what's in the documents. And it made me wonder too if Chelsea Manning or if Teixeira, this new kid, basically comes out and says, I'm trans, would Brad be saying this as well? And probably not. Hey, they say, hey, Boomer, they have bookmarked feature on Twitter. Yeah, but I don't want to bookmark Brad Palumbo. I just I think that's I should have done it. I don't follow him. His friend Hannah has blocked me. So I don't know what this has to do with anything. I could have bookmarked it. I didn't prepare for this show. I wasn't going to do this. I just got out of court. I came and decided to just start firing up the stream. This is what you get, Shannon. Don't snap on me too much. But it reminded me too of the Twitter files stuff where, Taibbi was just on with what's the, I don't remember, Manny or whatever his name is. And he's in my intro there. And there's, hey, you missed something here. You missed something here. And it's trying to get the gotcha of the journalists. It's also trying to get the gotcha of the journalists when they went before and they testified to Congress. And they weren't interested in the documents themselves or what was being found. That would be the interesting part, right? It's kill the messenger then you don't have to pay attention to what's actually in all the files. Hang on. Hannah blocked you. What a bitch. Yes. Well, you want to hear the reason why? There was somehow, I'm trying to remember the exact one here, but if someone had a picture of the two of them and then her and Brad, and then someone made some comment about Brad and his masculinity, but they weren't specific as to which one. And I just came back and said, hey, I don't think she looked that bad. Evidently, she didn't like that. Then I've done a few hate watch things as well. So, rightly so. I don't have a problem with her blocking me. It sounds like it's due. It's due. Okay, so Twitter files, you get the leaks now. Now, what is in the documents? We haven't really been able to find them or know. Some people have seen them, some haven't. Tucker Carlson's going out there and basically saying that it is, we're basically using forces in Ukraine, perhaps. I don't know. So then you get Eagle and you get Brad Palumbo saying all these things that these aren't the proper type of people. What about people getting killed? It's just your same thing. You be consistent on all these things, and it's really not a problem. Going after the whistleblowers, in a sense. Now, was this kid, he said, he was doing it just because he was trying to impress his friends. I think that's always the case. I mean, now Snowden goes and gives them to documents to other people, but to some extent, unless you're going to be anonymous, you're always kind of, I think, trying to impress someone maybe. I don't know what this kid's whole motive was, but let's just say, who cares? Then let's find out what's in there. Are we being lied to about all kinds of stuff? Is it important that we know these things? I don't really, care too much about him necessarily. Maybe he's doing a brave thing, and I think maybe that's what you can say. Okay, so let's not dismiss these things, but maybe you don't call him brave. Maybe you just say, okay, whatever. But we're still getting the documents as we need to. She's going to be at LPF Con. What is that? We are. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Florida. LP Florida Con. Okay. That's probably what it is. Oh, good. Enjoy it. I have a picture. She gave a speech at the California conference last year, and I went to the dinner because I didn't know anybody, and so I was eating some food. That's when I sat next to Joe Jorgensen, who ate like a beefy. She ate all 45 minutes, and she ate the whole entire time. And the speech was unbearable by Hannah. It was milquetoast. So I don't know. Okay, so there we go. I'll probably dig into this a little bit more at a later date and bring some more of these things out. What's more in the documents? Anyway, the Twitter files thing, I just think it's an interesting thing how you snipe at the messengers, and then the reporters are basically the ones trying to get this guy caught, I guess, in a sense, or they helped him to do so. Interesting stuff there. What else do I have going on? These are things I've gaslighting, freedom. Yeah, I think I already did a show kind of on that one. Politics over psychosis. There is, I don't want to show this one. These are on my Substack, in my, what do you call it? Drafts. Duty to protect, evicted your child, entanglement, hands off my marriage, YouTube strikes. Oh yeah, I got a few YouTube strikes. I did get a strike originally. It was from Dave Smith when I had him on the show, and it posted it, and he was on Rogan. It wasn't when he was on my show. It was me doing a clip of him on Rogan, and it got community strike for it. Now, what was the reason for that? Originally, they said in misinformation, because he was talking about the vaccines, I think, and some other stuff like that. So they put a strike, and they made me take that the episode down. Okay, I did. I put it up. Did I cut that out? No, I didn't. I just put it up on Odyssey and everywhere else I had it. So that's what. And then not too long ago, I went in there and looked again, and they've changed it, and it's no longer misinformation. Now they say it's clickbait type of stuff. In other words, if you put a misleading picture like in your thumbnail or in your description, and it's different than what the video is. My description was a big podcast weekend because it was he and Malice, and that was the was the only thing I really had a discussion. And so anyway, they've changed that. Then recently, they made me take out a portion of I remember what it was. Reed Coverdale was on InfoWars, Alex Jones show, but Alex Jones show was being hosted by Alex Stein. Okay. And I came in and I recorded it as they were doing it live. And then I posted it up on my own. It was getting a bunch of views. Matter of fact, it got me a follow from Alex Stein because of that, because I said he's a good looking man or something like that. So, anyway, they made me take that down as dangerous. That's what it was. It was something like now they didn't give me a community strike, which is interesting, but they did say it was dangerous. So in that respect, go over. We're doing better numbers on Rumble anyway. I mean, I have more followers. I have like 400, only 400 and some on YouTube. We have 60, 70 followers over on Rumble, but we get over 100 views over there. Some of those are, the Top Lobster one was close to 1,000. So we're doing a little bit better. So I would just say, go over to our Rumble page, click on that. The only problem we have right now is I like right now, I don't know if I were to go to this page, start this up, is it even live over there? Probably not. And then, live chat. I don't see any live chat going, but if you did have the live chat and you were able to check that out, and chat over there, it doesn't really show up on this one. So that's one problem that StreamYard has at this point. YouTube strikes, got that taken care of. I don't really think I have much else. What have I seen? Oh man, there was a bunch of, I wish I would have prepared for this a little bit. There was a bunch of podcasts that I've seen lately, good stuff. Look, does everyone like Reason? No. And I get the reasons why. But they had on, and this was a mistake of me. They had a whole thing about TikTok ban, the Restrict Act, and they did a live show. Nick Gillespie and Weiss Miller, and they had on a guest. It was Taylor Lorenz. Okay, now Taylor Lorenz is this horrible journalist, I guess, and she's doxed the libs of TikTok person. She cries about being harassed, but yet she's a harasser herself. So they had her on. Now I'm at work and I just clicked on it and I started watching it as I'm working. And she was great. Everything she said. I must say, I didn't see who it was. I just thought I thought it was a libs of TikTok girl on there giving her talk. She ripped the right, she ripped the left in Congress about this. She did a lot of kind of the Robbie Suave breakdown, or it reminded me of the satanic panic stuff that we've had. She gave a lot of misnomers or broke them down and dispelled the rumors about a lot of stuff with TikTok. So like these certain challenges that are dangerous and people dying, that didn't happen. So she had a lot of facts about this stuff. She says it's overreach, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, great. Well, then Reason ends up posting something on Twitter about it. Toad, from Tower Gang, he's ripping it, but he didn't even watch the interview. So I'm in our group chat, I'm saying, hey, this is a horrible take, Toad. And he's like, Taylor Lorenz. And then I realized I had the wrong person. So that's where I have a problem now. How do you mix these things where you hate someone and they come out and they do? I just thought of, there's this thing I'm going to be writing, and now I think I can at least join it in, or maybe just talk about it. So how do you do something when someone agrees with your point of view on one issue, but they're horrible on another? Caitlin Johnston, she's another one where she's a lefty, but she's kind of got this good stances on war, but she comes out with horrible communist takes on economics. And so I've gotten in trouble because I've criticized her on her economics. And Patrick McFarlane, who I absolutely like, he and I have had kind of some arguments online about the situation with her. And do you even criticize her? He's like, no, she's posted up stuff on Ron Paul Institute, Libertarian Institute, or Ron Paul's what is his anyway, whatever thing he runs. And so, look, she's done some really good things, and you don't necessarily criticize her. And I'm like, but I got a problem with that. Okay, fast forward to last weekend, RFK now says he is going to run for president as a Democrat. Okay. Now, the problem you have with him running as a Democrat is, one, he's a Democrat. But he came out and he was anti-vax, and he wrote this book, and he was very good about it. He wasn't anti-lockdown, though. So there's some issues there. And then I had people were like, this is great. I was on Leighton. This is another thing. I was on Leighton Radner's show, Outlawed Thoughts, last weekend, or last week. I think it was Friday, maybe. And we broke down the Trump indictment. I think it was a really good analysis by myself, if I may say so. So I reposted it on my podcast feed, put it on Odyssey as well. But I encourage you, if you want to have some understanding of the Trump indictment, kind of where that whole process is, I think it's a good sound one, because I'm not partisan on one side or the other. And so there's some good analysis, I think, there. And I praised Leighton because he actually asked some really good questions and walked me through it, kept me focused. So where was I going with this? My last thoughts were, I just derailed myself. This doesn't happen too often. Anyway, so RFK, that's where it was. And he had asked me some questions about RFK as well. And my immediate reaction was, this guy's horrible on environmental stuff. So he may be great on the vax. He may be great on on your freedoms for there, but he's been horrible on other things. Reed Coverdale came out and said, this may be someone I would vote for, instead if Dave Smith doesn't run, as an example. And then other people were saying that. Toad was even saying that. And then it was so easy to do. All you have to do is just type up RFK, jail, climate change, and these given speeches about, if you're a climate denier, we need to be putting you in jail. Okay, so Kalina, whatever, Yoga Pants one, she's also now said, I'm leaving the Libertarian Party. I'm going to volunteer and work for RFK. Fine, go do your thing. You people are all idiots, right? Well, she's especially one. Now, how you tie this in is, it's fine why are we always being used, right? They have it all of a sudden where they pass through our sphere and they're suddenly in agreement with something that we agree with. So they come on our shows, they build themselves up, they sell their books, they make their notoriety, and then they move on, or they enslave us. We need to turn this around and use them. Okay. Use Caitlyn for her war, and then dispel her and have her move off, right? Use RFK for his vaccine stuff, and then kick him out and move on. Because he wants to enslave, literally says, it's super easy to find. He said, you should be put in jail. How do we do that? How do we stop these deniers? This is someone who wants to do this simply for your thoughts. He's not saying, hey, if you don't get a vaccine, you maybe we should put you in jail. This is, if you think you shouldn't get a vaccine, we're going to put you in jail. That's the essential part of it. You're a climate denier. That's what he wants to do. Kalina George, is that her name? Floyd's wife? Just kidding. Use her and move on as well. We need to turn these things around, bring these people in to use them for our own purposes, and then move on. And don't deal with their crap. And I don't care if they don't agree with this on financial stuff. It doesn't matter. We shouldn't have much to do with this stuff. Anyway, so that's just some thoughts I'm trying to correlate them and bring them into my head a little bit better for terms of writing some Substack stuff. But what do you do? The cart and the horse, or the chicken and the egg, whatever it is. Sometimes I have ideas and I write them, and then I just talk about them here, or sometimes I talk about them and I write them. Why do we do all this? I don't know. It gives me something to do when I'm not working normal times. I think that's where we're going to end here. Let me do one other item. Maybe this is, every once in a while, is this still working? Overcast. Okay, it is. Okay. Share a screen. This is my Twitter, one of the services I use, overcast.fm. Here's all the podcasts I have in there. There may be some bad ones. Anarchy Among Friends. That's Jason Booth. Good stuff. Biting the Bullet. Brian McClanahan Show. Good stuff. Dare to Think. Baldwin. Death of Journalism. That's I was just on the show this last week. Ziegler. Where was one I was looking for? Well, I don't remember what I was going to find there. So, okay. I think I've done enough rambling for today. Next time, promise I'll be a little more prepared. All I need is just a little subject and something to go to, and we can go from there. And maybe next time, as Shannon says, we need Leighton here to keep you on track. Definitely. Leighton's a good guy. Okay. So, Hapitarians tonight for me. I don't know when Shane puts that out, probably in the next week or so. He just had Clint Russell on, so it should be a good time. What else do we have? Andy and I are going to be working on some more stuff, probably set up another Kill Tony. We need to have another good guest. Top Lobster was solid last time, maybe a different subject. Tom Woods extravaganza continues. All right, everybody, maybe we'll do another hang this weekend. I'll just get a little more things to talk about. Other than that, enjoy.
Okay, I'm leaving now. Bye, guys.
But she's back.
And now.
Chick-fil-A is completely overrated. It's not that good. I prefer Zaxby's. I prefer Popeyes.
Takes a tough man to make a tender forecast, Nick. And I guess that's me. Keep plucking that chicken.
Should I vote for Dick Cheney on the Libertarian Party? Do I have an obligation to vote for Dick Cheney?
I would say so.
Yes.
Did it work for those people?
No, it never does. I mean, these people somehow delude themselves into thinking it might, but it might work for us.
That one dude was like, not a podcast. I can't find it anywhere. They don't have video.
Oh, yeah, Peter Janke. Yeah.
Yeah, I blocked him.
I'll do it. If he unblocks me, I'll...
He'll buy your shirt if you unblock him, Bert.
He's a wigger.
Yeah, nothing cooler than a 49-year-old wigger.
Like,
I just started live streaming. Cut me some slack. I'm pretty high tech for a boomer. But anyways,
boomer.